It was a really emotional project for us, and it meant a lot to us. And that's the reason we wanted to share it with you guys, but we really were not sure how it was going to be received.
What happens when a dream yacht project does not simply run into delays, but ends up unfolding inside a federal courtroom?
We have safely anchored in an absolutely gorgeous location, and we're ready to give you a tour of this incredible bearing center.
How does a build that was once celebrated publicly turn into a dispute involving contracts, allegations of undercapitalization, and suddenly disappearing videos? And how does reputational pressure change the balance of power when the people involved have a bargeage and loyalty? Today, we are looking closely at the ongoing legal dispute involving Victoria Chalaya and Rico Stoll, better known to many viewers as the creators behind the YouTube channel NautiStyles. We will update you on the public court filings, procedural updates, and statements that have been made on record, with all allegations clearly identified as such. So who exactly are Victoria and Rico, and why did their yacht project attract so much attention in the first place? Victoria Chalaya and Rico Stoll are not casual lifestyle influencers who happen to discover yachts for content. Both are licensed United States Coast Guard captains with more than a decade of professional maritime experience. Their background includes charter operations, yacht consulting, brokerage work, and hands-on technical knowledge of systems and vessel operations. When they launched the NautiStyles YouTube channel, it stood out precisely because it avoided hype. Their walkthroughs were detailed, practical, and often blunt. Viewers trusted Victoria's direct assessments and Rico's technical explanations, and that trust helped the channel grow rapidly into one of the most recognizable names in the online yachting space. With that credibility established, the next step raised an obvious question. What would happen if they turned the camera on their own dream? That question was answered when they launched a second channel, Nauti Guys, and announced that they were building their own long-range steel explorer yacht. This was not presented as a speculative idea or future ambition. It was framed as a committed, real-time project. They entered into an agreement with Bearing Yachts, initially planning a Bearing 75, which later evolved into a more complex and larger vessel. Over time, the project became known as an approximately 82-foot full-displacement explorer yacht named Adamas. Viewers were invited into the process at every stage. They watched shipyard walkthroughs in Turkey, listened to debates over layout and systems, and heard repeated references to the project as the biggest financial decision of their lives. This level of transparency created emotional investment from the audience, which makes the next question unavoidable. When did things start to change? The shift was subtle at first. Updates about the yacht became less frequent. Language on camera grew more careful. Details that once flowed freely were suddenly limited. While the channel remained active, the focus slowly moved away from Adamas. For many viewers, the silence felt deliberate but unexplained. The reason for that silence became clearer in mid-2025, when the dispute moved from the shipyard into the legal system. On July 30th, 2025, Angelus LLC, a company linked to Victoria and Rico, filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina. The defendants include Bearing Yachts LLC, Bearing Naval, and a number of related companies and individuals. According to the complaint, Angelus LLC alleges breach of contract, fraud, unfair trade practices, and negligence connected to the construction of the vessel. It is important to be precise here. These are allegations contained in a complaint, not findings of fact, and no court has ruled on liability at this stage. That raises the next critical question. What exactly does Angelus LLC claim went wrong? Recent filings expand significantly on the plaintiff's position. According to the amended allegations, Angelus LLC claims that the Bearing defendants were undercapitalized, not because of market conditions alone, but because of improper transfers of assets and the siphoning of funds between corporate entities and individual defendants. The complaint alleges that this undercapitalization directly prevented the defendants from meeting their contractual obligations, including timely completion and delivery of the yacht, and that this failure caused monetary harm to Angelus LLC. These claims remain contested and unproven, but they add a serious dimension to the dispute. If the defendants dispute those claims, how does the plaintiff argue that the contract itself was clear and enforceable? The complaint goes into unusual detail to establish that the agreement was was definite, specific, and measurable. According to Angelus LLC, the contract provided for the construction of a one-of-a-kind, semi-custom 77-foot steel and aluminum long-range Explorer motor yacht. The agreement allegedly incorporated highly specialized requirements tailored to Angelus's operational plans, including the intention to use the vessel for charter operations. The contract also specified that the yacht would measure less than 24 meters to comply with regulatory requirements. Beyond size and layout, the filings list a detailed array of specialized systems that were allegedly required under the agreement. These include high-capacity silent mode technology, solar integration, black and gray water treatment systems, an integrated high-end sound system throughout the vessel, additional high-powered alternators to support extended battery banks, upgraded Furuno navigation equipment, a commercial-grade alarm and monitoring system, a professionally outfitted galley suitable for charter chefs, a hydraulic swim platform, an upgraded 2,500-pound crane, a custom-designed HVAC system with integrated ceiling heaters, precision-balanced custom VEEM super yacht propellers, and a cathodic protection system. The plaintiff's argument is that these details make the agreement clear enough that performance obligations can be easily identified and evaluated. That leads to another question that has drawn significant attention. How much has been paid and how complete is the yacht? According to Angelus LLC, approximately 83% of the total purchase price of the vessel has already been paid. At the same time, the complaint alleges that construction of the yacht is, at best, approximately 70% complete. The filings further state that Angelus LLC has fully performed its obligations under the agreement to date and remains ready, willing, and able to perform any remaining obligations if construction resumes and contractual benchmarks are met to the agreed quality standard and within a reasonable time frame. Once again, this is the plaintiff's position, not a judicial determination. So where does the case stand procedurally as of now? As of court filings through December 8, 2025, Angelus LLC attempted to serve several Turkey-based defendants through the Hague Convention, which governs international service of legal documents. The Turkish Ministry of Justice later confirmed that service was not successfully completed. Because of this, Angelus LLC requested a 90-day extension to complete service, which is a common procedural step in international litigation and does not reflect a ruling on the merits of the case. At the same time, Angelus LLC sought entries of default against several U.S.-based defendants, including Bering Yacht LLC and Bering Yacht Sales LLC, alleging that they failed to respond within the required timeframe after being properly served. An entry of default is not a judgment, but it does shift procedural leverage. Defense counsel responded by arguing that the delays were tied to ongoing settlement negotiations and that response deadlines were intentionally delayed by mutual agreement in order to avoid disrupting those talks. No court has yet ruled on whether those defaults will stand. While all of this was unfolding in court, another development raised new questions. Why did a public update video suddenly appear and then just as suddenly disappear? Nauti Guys released a YouTube video providing an update on the status of the yacht. According to viewers who watched it before it was removed or made private, Victoria and Rico stated that they had exercised their contractual right to terminate the agreement with Bering Yachts. They asserted that the vessel belongs to them under the contract and that they are legally permitted to take possession of it and move it to a nearby shipyard for completion. They also stated that attorneys had been engaged to protect and enforce their rights, and that Bering had not yet responded to their formal notices. Shortly after the video went live, it was taken down, and no public explanation has been offered. This naturally leads to another question. Was that video simply an update, or was it leverage? In disputes of this scale, reputation matters. NautiStyles is not a small or obscure channel. Victoria and Rico have a significant reach, a loyal audience, and credibility built over years. Public allegations, detailed filings, and a short-lived update video all increase pressure, whether intentionally or not. It is difficult to ignore how unusual it is for a situation involving creators with that level of visibility to escalate this far without resolution. So why has there been no full expose from their side? The most likely answer remains legal restraint. Active litigation, potential non-disclosure agreements, and advice from counsel often limit what parties can safely say in public. In this context, silence does not necessarily mean inaction. It may simply mean that the fight has moved entirely into legal channels. That brings us to where things stand now. The lawsuit is active, allegations have expanded, service on foreign defendants is ongoing, defaults are contested, contract termination has been publicly claimed, possession and completion of the yacht remain disputed. No court has ruled on the substance of the claims, and the most consequential questions are still unanswered, which leaves one final question worth asking. Is this story ultimately a cautionary tale about the risks of custom yacht construction, or is it a painful chapter in a longer journey that has not yet reached its conclusion? For now, the answer sits with judges, mediators, and legal filings rather than YouTube videos. We will continue to follow the case as verifiable updates emerge, and we will bring them to you when facts, not speculation, are ready to be discussed. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next update.